In addition to the much-anticipated confrontation between Dexter Morgan and the series' primary antagonist, Blood Drive of Dexter, Original Sin introduces a new one. A medley of villains, including Hector Estrada and the recently revealed child killer Aaron Spencer, was created when Episode 8 confirmed the return of Dexter's biological brother, Brian Moser, in the Original Sin timeline. In the penultimate episode of Season 1, Brian steals the show, raising a lot of questions for the Season 1 finale the following week. A significant unresolved issue from the first Dexter series is finally addressed in Episode 9, which explains why Brian and Dexter were split up following the horrifying murder of their mother Laura. He seems to have had a much harder time with Brian's dark passenger than Dexter's, almost suffocating baby Deb in her crib because her cries were too loud. In Episode 9, Deb also meets Maria LaGuerta for the first time at Miami Metro, which has a spooky undertone considering how their relationship would end in Dexter Season 7. Dexter. Episode 9 of Original Sin deftly illustrates how Harry served as a buffer between Dexter and Brian Moser. Being separated from his younger brother has left Brian severely traumatized. An apparent social worker or child protective services representative took him away, leaving him to live an unstable and lonely life. In Episode 9, Brian returns with a vengeance, first befriending the social worker through several bingo nights and then attacking her in his van. In order to protect Dexter, Harry decides to bury the lead on Brian even though he is aware that Brian is still at large and has already murdered 3 people. The prequel and Season 1 of the original series are perfectly connected by Brian Moser's reappearance. Brian has turned out to be a surprising but perfect addition to the Dexter, Original Sin cast, unless showrunner Clyde Phillips intends to ruin the reunion between Brian and Dexter in Season 1. Brian's inclusion has been handled brilliantly so far, even though his expanded role feels like playing with sacred original series fire. The purpose of the prequel series is precisely to finally unravel the mystery of why he and Dexter were actually separated. A significant hole in Dexter's backstory is filled by proving Harry's rational part in it. Additionally, it poses a question that defines Harry's personality. Why didn't he arrest Brian when he had the opportunity? Dexter sets up a trap for Aaron Spencer, one of the few people who ever managed to get away from Dexter's notorious kill table, as Brian Moser cranks up a chainsaw in the closing moments of Episode 9. It appears to be a perplexing move that goes against Dexter's MO and runs the risk of violating the fundamental Harry's code rule, don't get caught. Spencer takes his severed finger and pictures of his child victims and drives off with Dexter following, but Dexter still seems to be behind the wheel. If Dexter is saved, Spencer will probably lead him to Nikki, which would give his brand of vigilantism an additional heroic dimension. Given that Dexter has more than enough evidence to either end Spencer's life or put him in prison for good, it would be shocking if Harry didn't assist in getting him out at this point. Spencer is likely to meet his demise in the Original Sin Season 1 finale, but even after he confesses to Dexter in Episode 9, it's still unclear why he killed Judge Powell's son and abducted Nikki. Many questions remain about Spencer, including why he severed both victims' fingers and why he fed them the same boxed lunch. Spencer admits that he was angry with his ex-wife, Becca, who had been having an affair with a man named Nelson for 14 years, which is why he abducted Nikki and cut off his finger. Nikki's age is unknown, but it's possible that Spencer abducted her because he suspected or knew that Nikki wasn't his biological son but rather Nelson's. There are still a lot of unsolved questions regarding Spencer, including why he gave the same boxed lunch to both victims, why he cut off both of their fingers, and how he thought that capturing Nikki would help him deal with Becca. Furthermore, it is still unclear how Judge Powell and his son are involved in all of this. Dexter is shocked by the apparent lesson that one significant life event can transform a decent person into a killer after Spencer confesses to kidnapping Nikki but not to being a serial killer. To call Spencer a good to great Dexter villain after Original Sin Episode 9 still requires a lot of explanation, and the Season 1 finale will need to resolve these issues.